I've enjoyed working with them, with the students, particularly in the dance company, because I see that they really have a true love for the art. And it's been my pleasure really to help them where I see the help is needed to give better expression through better technique and through perhaps acting, which we call in dance pantomime, to give them a more solid foundation in those areas that will help them become professionals if that is the desire they have. Now, many of them want to go into teaching in either higher education or private schools, their own private schools, which is very often the case with those people. I had an interesting experience, though. We brought up before this interview the name of Bob Fosse, and I had heard that an audition was being held for the movie Damn Yankees at Warner Brothers. So I thought, why not? You know, I wasn't working at the time. So I arrived with a number of like 300 other dancers on the soundstage at Warner Brothers. There was a big hurricane fence and a guard on the inside. We could see Bob Fosse at a little desk, seated with a paper and a pencil, going through the names of people. Suddenly I heard my name called out, and the heads went like that toward me, and the guard said, "Is Roy Fitzell here?" And I meekishly held my hand up, and he said, "Mr. Fosse wants to talk with you." And I said, "Oh, fine." So he opened the gate, and I went through, walked 25 feet over to his desk, and he said, "Roy, hi." He said, "I'm a fan of yours. Do you want to do this?" And I said, "Well, I'm not working." He said, "You've got the job." And I said, "Great," and shook his hand, and he said, "See you later." I walked out through the gate, and all the dancers, who were many of them were my friends, said, "What did he say?" I said, "I've got the job." And they all went, "Boo," because they all had to audition. So anyway, I'm not boasting, but I'm just saying that was kind of fun. An interesting thing that just came to my mind, a story that I tell often, is that I got a call from Paramount Studios one day, knowing my Spanish dance background. And I think it was a motion picture called The Canon. It was with Frank Sinatra. It was with, what's the Italian actress's name? Names escape me now. They shouldn't, but they do. But anyhow, famous actress, an award-winning actress. They said, "We have filmed her as though she were a Spanish dancer from here up, and she's moving, but we don't see her feet. And we would like to record your feet. So will you come and do that?" It says, "Oh, sure." So there's one of those crazy jobs that just happened to fall in my lap. And so I went to Paramount, and they projected up there, and I had earphones on, and I made up what I envisioned that her feet was doing. She wasn't doing anything with her feet. She was just moving back and forth, actually. But I did zapateado footwork, Spanish footwork. And so my foot sounds were, and what is that actress's name? Famous, from Italy, married to a famous Italian producer, motion picture producer. Oh, to accomplish before I'm carried out in a box. What would I like to accomplish? You know, I've been so fortunate. I call it heavenly choreography. The things have, so to speak, fallen in my lap. Perhaps because of good training, but in being interviewed at one time, not to divert that question too much, when I was at UC Irvine being interviewed, much like I'm being interviewed here by a local newspaper person, I was asked, "When did you begin to dance?" And I said, "Well, I think the gift was given me in the pre-existence." Now, she didn't understand that, and a lot of people maybe who are viewing this do not, but I believe we come to this planet with certain gifts, and I think that gift was given me long before I was born in the spirit world. Of course, that's my religious beliefs. And to carry it on, I feel that after death I will carry it on too. And I will have that opportunity to continue to jig along hopefully in the proper degree of glory, and taught dance for exercise, and tramped all over every national park here that we have in Utah with our guests. We moved back and forth to California because of our children's interests. We have a tennis pro and et cetera, and a musician. But this third time back, after our mission in Spain, my wife said, "What'll we do now?" She happened to say, "Why don't you send a resume to the dance department at Dixie College?" I did, and Dr. Lay responded immediately. She called within 15 minutes after receiving my resume, and she said, "You please to come in, I wish to talk to you." I said, "Okay, I will." So she invited me to choreograph a piece, a Spanish dance, which I did for an ensemble piece. That was year before last. And then she said, "Now why don't you teach for us?" I said, "I'd be pleased to teach for you." So I began teaching then last year. And then she called me in at the end of last year and said, "Do not tell anybody, but I am going on sabbatical." And she said, "You were the first on my list to ask if you will take over for me while I'm gone." Well, the dean later told me, Dean Hinton later told me, he said, "I think you were the only one on the list." Leaving here, now I have been invited to stay after Dr. Lay's return, and will continue to teach and to give whatever I have to give, my knowledge to these students who are so thirsty to learn about and to know the hows and whys and everything about theater and dance. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity again. We're going to start a tap class also, because the plan that's in the making is to do the musical Anything Goes. And I had the opportunity of doing that both as a choreographer and director in Las Vegas and in Los Angeles. And so I'm familiar with that. And when Professor, why can't I think of his last name? Barlow, anyway, asked if I knew anyone who tapped, I said, "Well, you're looking at him." And then he explained what was going to happen. So it's on the format to start a tap class in the fall of 2010.